So there are 5 clans, and each clan living on an isolated island somewhere in the Pacific. Each clan represents a different color, as we ourselves wear different colored skins, and each clan has a special talent that they take pride in. So there's Clan Ruby, which is the red clan, and they specialize in humor. There's Clan Amethyst, which is the purple clan, and they specialize in philosophy. So then there's Clan Topaz, which is the golden clan, and they represent music and song. There's Clan Azure, which is the blue clan, and they represent poetry. And then there's Clan Emerald, which is the green clan, and they are the dance clan. Now the play begins at the end of a war. Clan Topaz, or Clan Azure, the blue clan, has declared war against Clan Topaz. The other clans ally together with Clan Topaz, and they defeat Clan Azure. They defeat the evil Lord Stolar. Now the dilemma is, how will they bring about peace on the island? Because they realize if they don't make some adjustments, that they could destroy themselves. But not only must they bring about peace, but they also need to clean up the destruction that has happened on the island and to each clan. So, as I mentioned, Lord Stolar was killed. Well, a new ruler is emerging, and he's one of nobility, he's one of high morality. And Lord Kristar has written a peace treaty, the head of the allied clans, and he's presenting it to the other clans. Well, now the other clans, in the scene prior to the one that you'll see tonight, give all the appearances of accepting this peace treaty. But then they in this scene show why they're going to reject it. And they have very straight logic. The head of the 3 clans that are opposing Lord Kristar are headed up by the philosophy clan. And Swami was asked one time, because all the people on Crystal Island have all this faith in this peace treaty. They're hoping that that's the solution. So Swami was asked one time, what's wrong with the logic that the Lords have? What's the problem with it? And his response was, they're not in their hearts. The logic is sound, but they're not in their hearts. So the second scene that you'll see, there's 2 scenes to the peace treaty tonight. The second scene that you'll see is the hermit and Lord Kristar and Gazella. Each clan has a different level of consciousness within the clan, and Gazella represents one of the higher consciousnesses, and she's in the dance clan, and she often sequesters herself so that she can pray, and she prays through her dancing. But the Lord Kristar is completely befuddled at this point because the Lords reject the peace treaty. And so he goes to the hermit, who's a neutral character, and he asks him why, where have I gone wrong? And the hermit explains to him that you haven't gone wrong, that any action that is worthwhile, any undertaking that is worthwhile needs one thing, and that's commitment. And so through that scene, Gazella brings up the solution, which is not the peace treaty. It is not the governments. It is not the differences between the clans that bring them together and unite them. It's their similarities. And Swami points out, of course, at the end of the peace treaty, the young people go off and they create colonies, But ultimately, they realize that the way to bring about peace is to bring about peace amongst themselves. So, we present now from Seattle, Sacramento, Portland, Palo Alto, and Ananda Village, the peace treaty.
No. This is crazy. I can't. No. That's nuts.
You all look as though the meeting had begun.
No, my friend. We only arrived moments ago. We've just been chatting idly here, awaiting your arrival.
Let's be seated then.
Lord Christart, we can't begin to find the words to praise the treat. We can't begin to find the words to praise the treaty you have written. Truly, it is inspired.
I'm so glad you think so. The important thing is not who wrote it, but the countless thousands who will benefit from its adoption.
Indeed, yes. And as you say, it's not important who wrote it. I mean, after all, good gentlemen aren't expected to be experts with the pen.
No.
The important thing is that this peace treaty be worded properly.
I'd like to hear the changes you suggest.
Oh, nothing major. I'm afraid, however, that with laudable, soldierly bluntness, you managed to trample on a few toes.
Please, dear friend, if you can help our cause by rephrasing my words in the generous spirit, which is our true intention, I shall be grateful to you.
Just so. You see, to demand of anyone deeds to which he is not mentally or emotionally prepared is to impose hardship on him. We must take our people's feelings into account.
This I believe I have sought to do.
One moment, please. Of what benefit is it to comfort the body if the mind which rules the body is distressed? A healthy mind is of vital importance to the health of the entire organism. It is even true to say that the brain is the most important organ of the body. The head is placed over the body to rule it, and by ruling to keep it well. Well, same is also true, self-evidently so, of the body politic. The treaty you have written has been addressed to the body, but not to the head.
But surely in this case the head recognizes that what I've written is for the good of the whole body.
Such I know is your bluff soldierly intention. We honor it. We applaud it. But have you considered how we, on whom a whimsical destiny has imposed the distasteful duty of ruling our people, how I say we can implement your ideas?
Why, of course I considered it. After all, I'm a clan ruler myself.
But have you considered our feelings? You see, you've had all the glory of winning this war. But what of us who stayed behind and who must somehow avoid looking inglorious in the aftermath of the war? You have your victory to hold up to your people while they suffer the privations of this costly struggle. We other rulers, we face only its ruinous aftermath. I refer to what unthinking people, throwing their cares for the future to the winds, hail today as the peace.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that all three of us are saying that someone must pay for this devastation. By my reckoning, Clan Azure, the entire cause, let me remind you of our tragic suffering, finds itself in defeat, even more devastated than are we. Too many other young men were killed, especially in the final battle. They committed themselves throughout this war to a massive gamble that they would win, following which they planned on bleeding us white. Well, now that they've lost, they have even fewer resources than we to rebuild their shattered country. Now then, as I read your plan, it will become accepted as necessary to use our resources to rebuild Clan Azure. You are suggesting that we bleed ourselves white, in fact, for their benefit, just as they have planned to do to us. You want to revive and implement their own dastardly program.
But can't you see that if all the clans are strong, we'll all benefit?
My friend, my brother, don't be too hasty. All I'm saying is that let us not depart from the time-honored dictates of justice. Let Clan Asher pay, I say. As in any civilized nation, men are called upon to discharge their debts.
Very well. I accept your point that they must bear their debt honorably and responsibly.
Indeed, we want to do so. In every way, Clan Azure hopes to stand shoulder to shoulder with the other 4 clans, responsible not only to our own people, but to all the inhabitants of Crystal Isle.
Admirable. Admirable. And just how do you plan on going about assuming this responsibility?
Gradually, as we grow stronger, we mean to help you rebuild your towns as we rebuild our own. We mean to accept voluntarily, in honorable recognition of our debt to you, the burden of helping your economies out of any profits we earn.
Gradually, you say.
Naturally, my lord, we cannot pay out of funds that do not as yet exist.
Voluntarily, you say. What is offered voluntarily, however, can just as voluntarily be retracted. Even this word, gradually, that you propose, cannot but arouse the suspicions of any thoughtful person. Just how gradually do you mean? Shall our children's children's children see the beginnings, perhaps, of the vaunted repayment of your debt?
My lord, without trust, there cannot be even the glimmerings of hope for a lasting peace.
Wisely spoken. In your discernment, I see clearly how we won the war. Indeed, there must be trust.
Then, shall we not trust?
Trust is given to those who have been proven to be trustworthy. Anything less than that is naivete. And naivete ends in the destruction of all trust. Plainly speaking, we can't afford to wait. Our countries lie in ruins. It is now that we must rebuild them, not uncounted generations into the future. If Clan Asher is to help us in this undertaking, they must help us now.
Would like to, my lord. How do you suggest we do so?
Suggest? I'm not suggesting anything. You'll pay, because we will take from you what we want. If you can't pay us in goods or money, you'll pay us with your people. They will come and work for us, serve us in our homes, without pay, but in back-breaking labor.
Why, but that's slavery!
Call it what you like. Words can be made to serve an infinity of different ends.
This isn't repayment you're asking, it's punishment. Wait a few years only, and by the treaty I've proposed, you'll derive vastly greater benefits than you could possibly squeeze out now or ever derive in future from a land that remains devastated.
Referring once more to this peace treaty, as you so quaintly called it, the feelings of your brother rulers are hurt. By others of your stipulations. You've asked us to give up important revenues and customs duties. Well, apart from that income, do you seriously intend to ask our artisans to welcome the threat of cheap foreign goods flooding their marketplaces? Clan Asher's goods, since its country will be impoverished, will be especially cheap. Would it be fair to reward them for the sufferings they've caused by giving them such an advantage?
According to your plan, people should be free to cross over our boundaries at will. Can't you see that poverty will thus keep chasing after wealth and completely depleting it? Clan Azure's people will pour into our countries, stealing jobs from those to whom they belong by right. Indeed, slavery is the best solution. With slaves to serve our people, our citizens will be free to pursue their lives with the dignity they have so long merited.
Are you so blind that even tomorrow is only a mist before your eyes? What would the fruits be from such damaged seeds? They would be bitterness, hatred, vengeance, and eventually, inevitably, war.
You've written that there should be no further buildup of armaments and no military training. How do you expect us to protect ourselves against Clan Azure's reprisals?
And how do you expect us to ensure that the spoils will be divided equally among all the clans?
You've written that there should be a League of Clans. I judge this to be an excellent idea. It will help us to keep an eye on one another.
Oh.
Clan Azure, of course, must be excluded from representation.
Yes.
And the tax. Why place this burden on our own innocent populace? Obviously, it is Clan Azure that should pay the tax.
Yes.
Thus, they shall be included in your noble concept of clan unity.
Lord Christar, please, don't feel that we've rejected your peace treaty.
Oh, no.
Oh, true. We've altered it a little bit here and there. But don't you see, in essence, it remains unchanged?
Yes.
From the beginning, our commitment has been to the principles that you so beautifully outlined for us yesterday.
Yes.
We agree with you in principle.
Yes.
We still agree. It is a principle of ethics that the many should never be made to suffer for the few. From this self-evident truth, it follows logically that the few may have, sometimes, to suffer for the many. What of it if only one clan out of 5 be penalized? The peace, the prosperity, and brotherhood, of which you spoke of so eloquently yesterday, will be all the greater for these few changes we've made in the rough draft you wrote for us.
Yes.
Changes on which, I must add, we insist. The wealth of a people depends upon the prosperity of its rulers, I need hardly add, and in reminding you of this fact, I know that you too will be reassured that the changes we have made will make all of us rich, including you. Your plans? My dear brother, how could you be so blind? What have impoverished us all? As the rulers are, so will the people be. Our clans would have all grown poor under the terms of your treaty, while Clan Azure flourished to wage war on us once again. Next time, perhaps, defeating us utterly. With the changes we've introduced, our people too will grow rich someday.
Let us leave. There's nothing for us here but further humiliation.
Leave? You may leave, my brother, if you so wish, but don't speak of leaving with this, our enemy. His freedom is now forfeit. Guard! I station him nearby just for this purpose. Take this criminal away and place him in chains. So shall we ever treat the enemies of civilization and of all human decency.
I go to my own country.
Well done, my friend. Let us hope only we have not opened wide the windows of our homes to a hurricane.
Proposal for a peace treaty has been rejected?
Rejected is too mild a word. Jeered at, mocked, ridiculed. Its author treated like a toddling child. No problem so long as he played the unsophisticated games of war, but a threat to civilization itself if he dared to speak on those occasions when grown men practice the subtle arts of government. The treaty I've submitted has been shredded, its remnants flung disdainfully to the winds.
How is it possible? Are all our inspirations then but empty smiles born of wishful dreaming? Can words that ring to the heavens in bell-like tones of truth be nothing but glass tinkling, the foolish prattles of children excited by a game?
Have your plans for a peace treaty been thwarted by your fellow rulers?
Thwarted, good hermit, and much more. Discredited, discarded. their very virtues turned against them, as if these constituted their outstanding flaws.
I am not surprised. Meritorious changes seldom owe their adoption to those granite public figures whose office and authority derive from fixed traditions. Improvements come when there's nothing left to protect save one's own integrity.
And when such persons are discredited or thrown into prison, what then?
Truth, my lord, is an exacting master. It tests men in the fire, either to temper thereby or else to destroy the steely sharpness of their resolution. Know this, however, for a certainty. Truth alone is. All else is mere froth. Sooner or later, depending on men's constancy, the truth must emerge victorious. For though mountains fall and continents disintegrating plunge into the greedy oceans, truth is eternal. It can never die.
Show me its victories. Are they hiding smugly somewhere among the stars? Here on solid earth, how often sacrifice, far from being rewarded, is whipped and driven, forced to concede still further sacrifices. I'm a bluff soldier, Father. I demand some visible proof that high ideals are sometimes honored by universal law and not forever tripped up and made a laughing stock.
My son, was not your victory in this war, against odds that at the time seemed overwhelming, was not that victory proof sufficient that where the will is committed firmly to the cause of truth, it must prevail at last? All depended on the firmness of your commitment.
Then where have I gone wrong?
You have not gone wrong, my son. Not yet. You are merely going wrong. Your will is faltering.
But my plans have been cast unto a funeral pyre. They're now but ashes. The most now that can be done with them is to enshrine them in an urn and pray for their departed spirit.
Is any man a god, that you must bow to him and accept his decrees as commandments carved in stone? You've been thwarted, Lord Christar. You've not been overthrown.
I think I understand you, Holy Father. Forgive my presumption, but is not our present disappointment but a sign that we must make our ideals more practical?
I thought my plans were practical.
Practical in their conception, yes, but not in their implementation. You as a general must know this truth as well as anyone. You are suffering now, but pain normally is the result of wishing that things were other than they are. To cherish high ideals is the first step to high attainments. As important as the second step, to work with things not as you think they ought to be, but as they are. As long as you live, never say that you've been defeated. Even in death, if you cling to truth, then truth and your own soul as well must be victorious at last.
You give me hope, Father. What I must do is make my concepts live. Not on paper, but in the marketplace. I must win the consent, not of people's thoughts merely, but of their hearts, their consciousness, their entire being. We must inspire them to embrace these truths by first living them ourselves. Only then can we expect the clans to abide by written treaties. Every clan depends on every other. By this truth shall we convince the lords that the peace treaty is a necessity.
Why so, my lord?
The other lords are not concerned with truth.
Truth? It is not them we must convince. Yet from this war, like green shoots rising from a forest floor of ashes, a great good may come. The clans allied together became friends. Now they understand that the clothes we wear, the talents we've developed, do not alter the fact that all of us are human beings first, members of one human family. Formerly, men lived in the thought that governments decided everything. They were ruled, and even if they grumbled, they obeyed or had compliance forced upon them. Power came with possession. From now on, power will come with knowledge. Possession is passive. It cannot long resist the onslaught of fresh information. That is why power has ever sought to subjugate, not only by the force of arms, but above all, by imposing ignorance on the common man. That day has ended now. The lords may burn the peace treaty, yet the very incense rising from its flames will waft to distant corners of Crystal Isle, inspiring men everywhere to affirm the peace their hearts crave.
It is what I first told the lords. We must address this issue first in principle. Peace is a state of mind. It cannot be produced merely by the written law. From the love for peace alone can follow the stability which laws for centuries have proclaimed but remained forever impotent to enforce. We'll preach love, not hatred. For fear is the rank infection by the spread of which ruthless tyrants have for centuries imposed their might. We'll marshal a new army, one not carrying weapons, but a new belief. From this day forth, I will use my skills not to defeat, but to unite men's hearts.
Go where your soul feels called, my son. Only when we act in keeping with the highest that is in us can our actions be allied to truth. Pray with me now. Pray in your ways while I pray in mine. Peace. May it flow out like a gentle tide, softening men's hearts and turning them to kindness, cooperation, and tranquility. May the shepherd's distant note waft on peaceful breezes to the towns, freeing men's feelings from the urgency of grasping need and recalling them to their own soul's simplicity. Life reflects back to us our attitudes. May our people, by their peacefulness of heart, bring true peace at last to Crystal Island.